Good afternoon, traders. This is Tony D from the easyMarkets dealing room in Sydney. An update for you today. All the attention is going to be on the Bank of England later tonight in what could be a very interesting meeting because of the chances of a rate hike in August around about 50%. Now, this 50% chance of a rate hike in August is going to be swayed one way or the other, and most central banks like to give a hint that they're about to raise rates, and probably at the meeting beforehand, which is this meeting coming up. Now, there has been some improvement in data, and there could easily be the door opening at the very least to this rate hike. It'd be very unlikely that they close the door to raising rates. So at the price of 131.65, you've got a lot of events here skewed towards topside. Alright, so the market gets a clear indication they are thinking of raising rates in August, all things remaining the same, and Brexit negotiations continuing to progress well. Then you could see the market start to short squeeze in what is a pretty oversold market. These are year lows here on the pound, and so the potential for pound rally is always there. But the reason we are at year lows is the US dollar strength and just general market uncertainty about Brexit still, even though there has been a little bit of progress in that in the last 24 hours. May won another vote last night that was seen as crucial for getting support from our own party. So moving forward now, over the next couple of weeks before the EU summit, there is a fair bit of chance we're going to see more positive developments come from May pushing through the Brexit plan that she has built up already, and then presenting that to the EU summit itself, and then we get the EU's reaction to the deals and suggestions for the EU and UK's relationship post Brexit. But all of that's very important for the pound having a sustainable rally. But in the very, very short term, for the pound to have a short squeezing rally, you just need a hawkish central bank. All right, now, Carney is pretty good at communicating, and he's pretty smooth character if you've ever seen him in his press conferences. So it's going to be a lot of interesting question time there tonight. If you haven't watched one of the Bank of England meetings before, the Bank of England statement's not the main event. It is going to be the press conference afterwards, where we get a fair bit more colour from the central bankers on their intentions. One of the doves from the Bank of England has come out recently and started to acknowledge the recent pickup in data. And so there is a chance here that the market can come away from this meeting with a more upbeat view of the August meeting. While it's definitely going to be still contingent on data, and that means that the upcoming UK data releases are going to be important, you still do have the potential for short-term anyway, short squeeze from the positioning point of view. Now, the euro and the pound and the Aussie all failed in their little rallies overnight. If you're talking about just technicals here, the US dollar is still very much king here. And if you're looking at dollar yen, it's resumed its uptrend quite nicely in the Asian session today, well back above 110. In fact, we're threatening to test the cycle highs here at the 110.90 level. So traders have been asking me a lot about why is it that dollar yen's gone back up so strongly. Well, it's mainly to do with the interpretation from the market of the trade war, and the trade war between China and the US was the reason that dollar yen fell in the first place on Monday, and the main sort of consensus now, and you can see this with the bullish price action in stocks, is that this is just part of Trump's negotiation. So the threatening of tariffs is just that, to try and then backpedal and get a deal done. And so we are seeing some signs of that from the Chinese today. You're seeing them committing to opening up their markets for foreign investment and changing some of the ownership rules. So it looks like they are willing to play ball a little bit. There was some concern they were going to get very defensive with the threats, and although they have said that as well, there must be negotiations going on in the backgrounds here, because of the headlines that are coming out from the Chinese Commerce Ministry are very supportive. Or exactly the sort of things that the US would be asking for. So that's happening without them actually acknowledging it's part of the negotiations, but the timing of it is very much suggesting that is. And then it is possible then that you don't get the new tariffs that Trump is arguing for, and then maybe a more balanced trade balance with the US. via the US investing in China itself. So look, it's an interesting market at the moment. Things can turn back to being very negative again, but at the moment it is very much constructive, and so the risk on feeling is there, and the dollar yen and the euro yen, pound yen are all performing quite nicely in this sort of environment right now. But it is something to keep an eye on the stock markets at each session, and keep an eye on new comments from China or US regarding trade wars, as that's the biggest story at the moment driving the risk environment. Alright guys, if you want to have a chat about some of the particular crosses, some of the crosses are very interesting at the moment, and away from the US dollar strength, you can get a lot of movement if you're looking at things like the pound Aussie or the Aussie Kiwi, both of which are moving in slightly different directions. But the Bitcoin has settled down a little bit as well and started to grind higher. And if you are looking for ways of expressing what is coming tonight, then the pound is in play on many crosses as well. Pound Aussie is in a very nice uptrend, and because Aussie has the biggest brunt of Chinese trade negotiations. Now it does require a little bit of finesse here though, because the pound Aussie itself, while we do have that room to move back to those highs from March, if some sort of success or breakthrough comes through between China and US, then the Aussie is going to outperform. Okay, but in the very, very short term, if the pound was to rally in the current market, then it would outperform the Aussie, and this is what you're seeing here, all right, for the last few weeks. Alright guys, we'll be back tomorrow with an update. We'll see exactly what happens tonight at the Bank of England, and I'll give you the latest on that tomorrow at around the same time.